Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and it's time for the first Ask a Herbert Erpaderp of the year. I hope the start of your 2023 has been fantastic. I figured I would make some minor changes around here. New year, new font, as they say.
Nobody says that.
Do they say new year, new colour? Anyway, I've decided to use a new font and colour for my thumbnails and stream things, which some of you might have already seen. You can, if you want, let me know how you feel about it, but I probably won't be changing anything. Unless I do, I suppose. Also, I've decided to try a different start time for my morning streams, both modelling and the regular Friday morning farm sim streams I've been doing, which I do intend to continue for a while anyway. I'm going to try starting them at 11 AM local time for a while, just to see how I like it, also to see if it works better for viewers. Unless I've got it wrong, that should be a better evening time for those in the US, and probably the middle of the night for European folks. Time zones kind of suck when you stream from Australia. It does mean that I don't have to get up as early, and maybe I can be a bit more consistent though, and I think that's kind of important. Speaking of streams, I guess I'll be building them on stream, I've got some new Rubicon kits arriving soon. If you're a patron, there's going to be a poll to see which of those you'd like to see built first, so keep an eye out for that. With that out of the way, how about I answer some questions? Trekan Beluvic said, is Barnaby's performance in video games better if his character wears no pants? I think so. It just gives him that edge, you know? It allows that extra maneuverability and flexibility that he needs to excel. I believe he also uses Excel that way. Hetz's Gunner Hetz said, have you ever thought about using glitter paint on your models? It might make for pretty cool metallic colours. I've never thought about it, but really, regular hobby metallic paints are kind of like glitter paint if you think about it. It's just that the glitter is very small. I'm not sure if glitter paints, or at least the glitter paints I'm thinking of, like the ones for kids, would be very good for painting models with, but at least the glitter would be contained in the paint though. You'd have much less risk of getting the crafting herpes everywhere. Nobody wants that. A name that I can't read, but I assume is Spanish Boy, said, would you read this many pages of a book, mandatory or not? Well, I guess if it was mandatory I would have to, but even if it wasn't I would, and have read plenty of books that thick, though it does of course depend on the content of the book. If it's something I'm interested in reading, sure, though I guess the content wasn't really the question, just the thickness. So the answer is yes, sometimes a good thick book is exactly what you need. Trekan Beluvic said, is Herbert Erpaderp makes a reaction video, or stream, to a 5-year-old Herbert Erpaderp gaming video a good idea? I don't know. I don't really think so. Maybe if it was absolutely guaranteed to get a lot of views. I don't think it would though. I don't feel like it would be a lot of fun to make, and I'd probably have to really ham up my reactions just to make it interesting. I do understand that reaction videos are quite popular, but do people really want to see Herbert Erpaderp reacts to things in enough numbers to make it worth my doing? I'm not so sure. Hetz's Gunner Hetz said, whatever happened to Thunder Model's 35th scale German steam locomotive BR-80? They announced it back in 2017, reached the moulding stage in February 2018, and promised a work in progress back in May 2019. However, there were no further updates. I have no idea. I really don't keep up with model kit news like this sort of thing, and even if I did read that kit was coming, I've forgotten about it. There could be all kinds of reasons for a kit to be delayed, or even just abandoned. There could be supply issues, delays in having molds made, no factory time available. For all I know, Thunder Models could well have gone out of business. I guess the best choice if you really want to know what happened with this particular kit would be to try contacting Thunder Models. They may or may not be responsive, but some companies are. It's worth a try. Monol said, imagine a trolley speeding down the rails toward an intersection. On one side lays one Meng Models kit, and on the other there are 5 Airfix kits. You cannot stop the trolley. In front of you is a lever that would redirect the trolley from its current course. Do you pull the lever? Isn't this sort of question usually meant to be a hard ethical choice? This one I didn't even have to think about. Hetz's Gunner Hetz said, what do you think of this teeny tiny train set in 1000th scale? I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's not quite the same as a regular larger sized model train, and it doesn't seem especially well detailed, but I guess that isn't really the point, and I do think it's a fun idea. It seems like something you could use to build a model railway inside of a house on a larger scale model railway. That would be pretty cool. That kind of thing probably has other applications too, like moving cars and trucks and things like that. Not a bad idea, and it's really cool just to see the kind of things that can be done. That British model guy said, "What's the best model you've ever built? Model you regret not getting the most?" I don't usually care about picking favourites or the best of anything. It would just be kind of an arbitrary choice until I either change my mind or remember something better that I'd forgotten, if that makes sense. But in recent memory, the kit I've had the most fun building was the T-model Steyr Schweren Scheinen Panzersparzug. It was a pretty fun kit and it turned out really well. And I can't think of a model that I've regretted not buying. Usually if I have to make a choice between one or two model kits that I really want, I'll just make a note and get the one that I couldn't get later on. But most of the kits I buy I just kind of impulse buy. Actually, I did just think of one, kind of. I regret not buying the regular Bronco Staghound instead of the anti-air version. Though, in fairness, I wasn't ever really considering getting the regular version, because I just impulse bought the anti-air version. I had the regrets when it came time to build the turret, and it was annoying. Spanish Boy, I assume, said, "Thoughts on the Verdeja #1 Spanish tank, and does it deserve a model kit of it?" It looks kind of odd and very low profile, which is probably a smart design choice, and it almost looks like an Italian tank or maybe the German Like Tractor, or LOL Tractor. I don't think I would want to ride one into battle, but it does look interesting, and I think it would make a nice model kit, though maybe it's not quite as popular or well known as things like Shermans and stuff. But I do like my rare and odd tanks, so if somebody did decide to produce a kit of it, and I saw it, I would probably build it. Muse said, in a similar vein to the voice chat we have on this Discord server for users playing video games together, how would you feel about having a voice chat wherein users could specifically discuss modelling and talk with one another while they were at the bench? Personally, I get the most done on my models when I'm talking to someone else on the phone or over voice chats, so maybe some might appreciate the background noise. What do you think? I think it seems like a good idea for people who are into that sort of thing. It's not something that works for me personally, so it never occurred to me that it might be something other people want. There was actually already a general voice channel on the Discord, but for some reason it was private. I've made it public now, and unless I've done something wrong, it should work. It isn't labelled specifically for working on models together or anything like that, but if you want to use it that way, feel free. I hope that might help some of you enjoy your hobby time a bit more. And that's all the questions for this month. Let's go have a look at some of the modelling work that's been shared over on the Discord server. Eru shared this desertized Challenger 2 from Tamiya, saying they messed up the sepia wash. I think it looks pretty good though, and we all mess up. The only time messing up a model is a real problem is when we don't learn from it. I don't know if this is the 48th or 35th scale model. I think Tamiya make it in both scales, but it does look quite nice, and that's really what matters. Trekan Beluvic shared this Panzer 35T. This is a 72nd scale model from First to Fight, and it's been painted to represent a tank from the 6th Panzer Division during the invasion of France in summer 1940. I really like this. This is a model I've also built myself, so I know it's a nice one, and as we can all see, Trekan has painted it very well. I quite like what you did with the exhaust muffler. Awesome stuff. Rat Pack Norway has shared a car. It's a Camaro. Camaro? I don't know anything about cars, so that's about all I can tell you. It does look nice though, and it's very cleanly done. I really like the purple colour. We don't see a lot of cars around here, but it seems like they'd be a bit of a different challenge to painting a tank. At least if you want to do one that's all nice and clean like this, with no weathering or battle damage. This is very nicely done. Here's a Tiger painted by Monol. I think it's awesome. I couldn't tell you exactly what kit this is, but it seems Monol has added some extra details like a tarp and some boxes. Or I assume they're added and not part of the kit by default anyway. They do add a lot of interest, and clearly the model has been painted really well. It's always a pleasure to see Monol's painting. Muse shared a big gun. This is an 8-inch Armstrong rifle, and the model is in 32nd scale by Verlinden. Old school cannons like this are always interesting to look at, and it's also interesting to see things from a different era than World War II. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course, I just like variety. I think Musée has done a really nice job with this. The wood is rather convincing. Very nice work. Panzer IV shared their 4th diorama, which is entitled A Bad Idea, and it does indeed appear that this T-34 crew has had a bad idea. Will they survive? Who can say? I understand that this is an older airfix kit, but we won't hold that against Panzer IV, and despite it being an old airfix kit, the result they've achieved is awesome. The dirt and rocks are fantastic, and I definitely look forward to seeing your 5th diorama. Okay, that's it for the models this month. As always, I can't share everything here because there's just so much, but I would certainly recommend going over to the Discord server, if you're not already on there, and checking out the modelling channel. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Thank you to everybody who shares their modelling work. Also, thanks to the folks who ask questions. With no questions, it would just be a Herbert Erpaderp, and that seems kind of dull. And last but certainly not least, thank you to my patrons and Twitch subscribers. Your support is very much appreciated. Ask a Herbert Erpaderp will return next month, unless there are no questions, and then I might have to consider just doing a Herbert Erpaderp. Please ask questions. Be sure to subscribe to see more of whatever this is, and if you'd like to see my videos a bit early before there's any ads, consider becoming a patron. You can also take part in polls. I'm planning to do more of those going forward. You can find links to Patreon and all of my other things like Discord and social media in the description below. Take care of yourselves, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Farewell.